Hello everyone, this is Asel Sorbekova, your guide to understanding matters of sustainability the legal way. Today's video will be about the 3 deadliest accidents of all time in the field of the fast fashion industry history. The Ali Factory Fire, the Tazreen Factory Fire, and the collapse of the Rana Plaza Building. The sweatshops and factories that produced clothes for favorite world brands. I have done 3 individual videos on each of these accidents. So you can check them out in case if you're interested in finding out more about them in detail. The videos links are down below in the description box. So these 3 accidents, what do they have in common? Stay tuned as this video will help you understand their commonality. All these 3 accidents happened because of one major problem: the ignorance of fast fashion brands to make sure that occupational safety and health measures, conditions of safety at workplaces, were in conformity with international standards. And let's make things clear. By the term international standards of safety and health, I don't mean some fancy schmancy, sophisticated standards that are highly difficult to achieve. Even some basic labor standards were not realized, which was the reason for these accidents to occur in the first place. Occupational safety and health of workers were compromised at the cost of a cheap and fast production of clothes in unsafe buildings, construction, architecture, and fire safety-wise. So it was like first money, then everything else. Accidents, violations of human rights and workers' rights are happening as we speak. So it makes sense to remind ourselves what is the real truth and real cost of fast fashion, because even after 8 years after these accidents happened, the struggle of workers in sweatshops and the ready-made garment industry factories that are making our clothes is not over. Working conditions in developing countries that attract fast fashion brands leave a lot to be desired, and there are serious consequences of employment accidents due to non-compliance with international labor standards in terms of occupational safety and health measures. The 3 accidents are only some examples of occupational accidents that have created a lot of resonance around the world. They are a proof of how the mass media and public's attention is usually drawn post factum in the aftermath of an event to situations that leave many dead and injured at one specific place, whereas the problem had existed long before these accidents occurred. In other words, the problem in the fast fashion had already existed from the very beginning of the creation of first clothes by these fashion brands. Just that even if people were dying here and there, and their number was less than the number of accidents that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the 3 accidents. But if summed up, we could be talking about hundreds of cases of death and injuries. So I think this is a double standard situation that we live in today. Certainly, respective stakeholders in the global garment industry learned some lessons after the collapse of the Rana Plaza Building and also the other 2 fire accidents. So did the fast fashion brands and the entire fast fashion industry, including fashion industry. However, even after the Rana Plaza accident, even after 7 years since it had happened, and after 8 years since the Ali Factory Fire and the Tazreen Factory Fire occurred, the situation of workers in terms of occupational safety and health, regulation of hours of work, and decent pay has not much improved ever since. So why is this happening? Why are factories not being repaired? Why the working conditions are the way they used to be, so that not much has changed since then? According to this source, they're saying that there are 2 reasons why so few factories are successfully being fixed. First, the most essential upgrades to make factories safer, such as electrical improvements and moving to purpose-built facilities, are expensive, says the research, estimating the average cost of remediation to $250,000 going up to $350,000 per factory. The second reason, according to the research, is that brands see it as the supplier's responsibility to pay for these expensive factory repairs. Now, let's talk about occupational safety and health. The term that I used in the very beginning of the video, which is the core of this, the purpose of this video. The Constitution of the International Labor Organization, the ILO Constitution, sets forth the principle that workers must be protected from sickness, disease, and injury arising from their employment. For those of you who don't know what the ILO is, it's an international organization that deals exclusively with the relationship between the state, the employers, the employees, and the representatives of employees in terms of these unions. So basically, this is an international organization of a high reputation, high standing, that makes sure that, you know, employees, workers' rights are being respected, promoted, and protected, so that, you know, those who have a job work and do not experience discrimination, etc., and those who do not have an access to job market. So it's in a nutshell, this is the definition that I would like to give you to start with. Of course, further on in other videos, I will be providing you with, at least I will try to give you an understanding of what this organization is and how it is actually related to the whole textile industry, fast fashion industry per se. The ILO has been existing for 101 years. Actually, last year it celebrated its 100th anniversary. So this is just a side information for your reference, for your understanding. So yes, the safety of workers has been at the core of the creation of this organization. Yet, for millions of workers, the reality is very different in terms of their safety and health at workplaces. And the ILO standards on occupational safety and health provide essential tools for governments, employers, and workers to establish such practices and provide for maximum safety at work. The ILO has adopted more than 40 standards specifically dealing with occupational safety and health, as well as 40 codes of practice. Nearly half of ILO instruments deal directly or indirectly with occupational safety and health issues. And what you see on the screen is a resource list on these tools. So basically, these are international labor conventions, treaties, otherwise called international labor standards, in the form of a law, international law, that become as part of that can become part of national laws if states are parties to this international organization, international labor organization, and subsequently if they have ratified these instruments, making it binding for them. So just a side information for you guys to understand how the International Labor Organization works, and that these are the tools specifically in the field of the textile, clothing, leather, and footwear sector, which are applicable for the protection of workers in sweatshops, in ready-made garment industry, in the whole fast fashion thing. So friends, remember, like a few minutes ago, I suggested that I would make a video on the ILO and how it is actually related to the whole fast fashion industry, and how actually it has a role in it, a foot in it. So just to give you a quick key in this video, so that you can understand the role of this organization, specifically in the field of the textile and clothing industry, the International Labor Organization promotes decent work in the textile, clothing, leather, and footwear sector by doing the following things: promoting social dialogue on main challenges and opportunities in the sector, as well as building consensus among tripartite constituents on measures to address them, increasing and disseminating knowledge on recent trends and developments, supporting the implementation of international labor standards and workplace compliance, building capacity of sectoral constituents on different issues, occupational safety and health, skills, minimum wages, etc. And, last but not least, strengthening partnerships and policy coherence among different stakeholders at global, regional, and country levels. So that is in case if you're wondering if somebody's doing something about the workers' rights, about the worker situation in the field of the fast fashion industry at the level of international organizations. So the answer is yes. The ILO is actually has actually been doing a lot since the very beginning of, creation of fast fashion business concept. But just that, its hands are pretty much tied because it's an international organization, right? It's not justice. It's not a court system we're talking about. This is an international organization that helps states to set up their national legislations, helps set up international protection through realization, through implementation of these tools that I just mentioned, the conventions, etc., in the countries themselves, and incorporating these instruments, international instruments, into domestic laws. So basically, these organizations' hands are tied unless the states themselves, the states that produce, that attract fast fashion brands, decide to collaborate, decide to ensure that not only their laws are in conformity with international labor standards, but that in practice, the whole fast fashion, ready-made garment industry, in practice, in sweatshops, in factories, is in conformity with the actual letter of the internal law and international law. And also, we have to clearly indicate that, it has to take all partners. It has to take, it's also about the responsibility of fast fashion brands. It's the responsibility of customers as well, but that's another issue. The issue is that we have to deal with the states and fast fashion brands, because clearly the whole responsibility in terms of these accidents occurring is on these party sides. I just don't know if another fast fashion accident will not happen, if the history will not repeat itself, because while many are starting to dislike fast fashion and fast fashion brands, the era of fast fashion is not over. And why am I saying so? I'm saying this because I want you to hear a little story, okay? Surprisingly, about 2 months ago, I went shopping to a shop called C&A, Clock House. It has two names. You figure out which one, okay? But this just, we call it C&A. They have like several brands on clothes. I mean, the tags on clothes. It's called Jessica, Clock House, other stuff. But the name of the shop is C&A. So I did some shopping there with my mother, and I bumped into one of my acquaintances. And this person told me how nice the shop became, as the shop looks different, the quality of clothes, stuff like that, and that she was wondering if the owner changed so that they started making better clothes, and just, she noticed better something. And she was saying things like she had noticed a better cotton, that, labels were, they indicate that some environmental friendliness, things like that. You know what I mean? I don't remember the exact name of the label, what it says, but when I prepare the video, I will put it up right here so you can see what I exactly mean. And I told her, well, if you mean those labels that are mentioning like recycled cotton, recycled polyester, stuff like that, then it's all greenwashing. And also pay attention to that gigantic green wallpaper behind the cash register. That is also pure greenwashing. And this is not because the owner changed or something really great happened in their minds, that something twisted and they said, okay, now it's time we become environmentally friendly. No, this is not what happened. What had happened was that there's a real competition among fast fashion brands because the customer is not what he is not like how she used to be, he used to be. The evidence is that, there's so much stuff on YouTube, on fast fashion. People are, so much critical stuff on fast fashion. And, I am trying to, well, not really criticize, but I'm trying to also give my 2 cents in it, in terms of, explaining to you the legal way what is happening in the world of fast fashion. So what I'm trying to say is that really the consumer of today is not the consumer of yesterday. And furthermore, there's a real pressure on them because brands like C&A and others, especially after they were involved in one of those accidents that I mentioned, of course they have to keep up with the time that is, just doing its job and people's attitude that has become more sustainably conscious. So what is all these fast fashion brands are doing? They're just simply greenwashing us. Yes, greenwashing us. And I'm not inventing stuff here because you can just watch some famous YouTubers on fast fashion here on YouTube and even watch some documentaries, for example, of some renowned TV channels. I will put some links down below, okay? So that you can understand what is greenwashing if you don't have an awareness of this concept. So, I mean, yes, sweatshops still exploit workers and violate their rights, and brands, they keep doing business with these unethical factories and sweatshops, even after the Rana Plaza accident. And as a proof, for example, according to DW channel, this article that is mentioned right here, for example, when asked whether they were aware of the conditions under which their freshly purchased clothes had been made, shoppers on Berlin's main shopping boulevard, Kurfürstendamm, excuse my German, both Germans and tourists alike typically answered, "But I thought they've already resolved that." In other words, I mean, the truth is that even after these accidents, even after the Rana Plaza accident had occurred, the majority of today's customers, they do not know what is going on behind the scenes of the fast fashion industry. There's a little percentage that is well aware. They try to be, make shopping as a necessity, not, not as a therapy or something. The majority does not know, yes. And those who know, they just keep ignoring because, I mean, look, for example, these hauls on YouTube. Of course, these haulers, or what should I say, influencers, they know what's going on, but just keep feeding and feeding these clothes. I mean, of course, everybody, they can make, they can show their clothes, right? I mean, of course, everybody does what he or she considers doing, but yeah, so the point is that we and shopping today equals problem because the behind the scenes are not so pleasant. And I'm telling you, as not only as a consumer, yes, I'm a consumer. You know, I still wear fast fashion, but the point is that the um, the concept, the business model is very shaky. Is not sustainable. I wanted to say is unsustainable, and it's very bad in terms of workers' rights, environment, and XYZ reasons you can think of. That's it for now. And hey, I realized that the video became quite lengthy, and you can see that, you know, it's already dark. So I'm just adding another shot after realizing, after doing some editing work, that I needed to say that the video is quite lengthy, because I needed to say those things that I had said in the video, and it couldn't be otherwise. For a detailed understanding on what is fast fashion, check out my video entitled Fast Fashion, The Unspoken Truth and Human Rights right here. It is not the most perfect YouTube video on fast fashion, but I spent hours preparing it, and I would appreciate if you could check it out. It's a bit lengthy, but you know, it has some valuable information, and I'm sure you can find at least some of it useful for you. To watch similar videos like this, click the notification bell, because I will be posting about fast fashion and other subjects, related subjects to related in the field of the sustainable development, and I will be trying to explain the legal way. So in case if you're interested in this kind of approach to fast fashion and other related subjects, so please feel free and join me in my channel. And if you like, press the like button, comment below, and hey, if you don't like it, you can also press the dislike button. Of course, that's not ideal, but hey, we have to stay true, haven't we? Until then, take care and see you next time.